Mr. Bates.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Can any of you on that panel tell me the number of encounters at the border the last year President Trump was in office? Okay, so I'll just give you one sector. How about the Yuma sector? Yuma sector, 8,600 encounters, about 125 linear mile border, right? That sound familiar to you? So that was the last year President Trump was in office. You know what they're hitting about every 10 days there? Mr. O'Brien?
Every 10 days, I would say it's something in the neighborhood of 100,000. There's been, in a number of the sectors, 10 to 11,000 people coming across a day.
Right, I'm just speaking to the Yuma sector, which is now about every 10 days blowing through 10,000 people. So that's kind of what you're getting in the Yuma sector. You know what you're getting in the Tucson sector? Let's just talk about the San Miguel Gate, Tohono O'odham Reservation. Nearest place south of the border is Caborca, 40 miles away. Anybody want to tell me what they think that they're getting on a daily basis? Ms. Vaughn.
I suspect it's similar to Yuma, but that's ground zero for the gotaways.
That's correct. So you're getting, they're dropping groups of 700 to 1,000 people a day at San Miguel Gate. There's nothing else there. Nothing else there. I've been down there so many times. And you go, and now what you're seeing, where you previously you might see 5, 10 people, you're seeing hundreds at the same time. Lukeville, Arizona. What's that number? Anybody know? Lukeville's blowing between 700 and 1,500 a day. So what I'm bringing this up is because of this radical left-wing Democrat. Their subservience to Joe Biden's policies prevent them from even acknowledging the crisis on the border till now. Now it's a grand crisis, but a grand chaos, general chaos. That's right. I couldn't remember writing there. Now it's general chaos, but they couldn't tell you that it was chaos there until just a few weeks ago. They refused to even acknowledge it. And I'm going to suggest to you that the reason is purely political, that now they are saying, oh my gosh, Joe Biden's in trouble on this issue, and we're going to do what Joe Biden wants us to do. That's what my colleagues across the aisle are doing. They're doing what Joe Biden wants you to do. But you know what needs to happen? You need to close the border. And Mr. O'Brien, you told us he's got authority already there to close that border. Tell us about that.
So Section 1182F of the Immigration and Nationality Act says that the president, by proclamation, can decide to suspend the admission of all or certain classes of aliens when he determines that their presence may constitute a threat to the United States. And the Supreme Court has held in Trump v. Hawaii that the decision of how long, under what circumstances, and when to close the border has been entrusted to the president by statute.
Yeah, now let's take a specific example. Under Joe Biden, you remember the Haitians coming into Del Rio?
Yes.
And the average, they were reported 15,000, but the reality is there were about 22,000 coming in, and they were moving about 5,000 or so a day. So that's why it looked like 15,000. Do you remember when the Mexican government finally intervened? What triggered that? Do you remember? Anybody remember that? It's when we closed the port of entry on the bridge above where the Haitians were. That was what we call a deterrent. And Piedras Negras across the border, they said, look, we can't take that for more than 2 or 3 days. Calls went into the Mexican federal government. They said, no more bus loads. We're not going to facilitate bus loads coming to the southern city so they could come across. That's the distinction. So with all due respect to Mr. Hauser there, I do agree with him. The dedication and resilience of our CBP forces, the ICE force, they're ready to do their job. They're ready to do their job. And he was focused on the Western Hemisphere. The last time I was down in Lukeville, which is just a few weeks ago, it wasn't just Western Hemisphere folks. I went up and I talked to them. I said, where are you from? Senegal. How about you? Burkina Faso. How about you? Guinea. Where are you going? They take out laminated cards with phone numbers and addresses and say, I'm going to the Bronx. I said, have you ever been to the Bronx? No. You know anybody in the Bronx? Wait, where'd you get the card? Don't know. That is the crisis and chaos. And so when you tell me that there's not enough money, you know why there's not enough money? Because this administration has incentivized the world to come in And there is virtually never going to be enough money to take care of housing these people and providing the support we need to remove them. Because why? Because this administration, that my colleagues across the aisle are obeying Biden's wish. That's why, because they've caused this. And with that, I have some documents I'd like to get in, Mr. Chairman. Washington Post from today, chance of mass release by ICE. Document called Executive Office for Immigration Review Adjudication Statistics, and a document from Axios saying exclusive, how Biden botched the border.
Thank you. Well, so ordered.